I used to believe that cheating was something other people did. People with broken marriages, loveless relationships, people who were selfish, careless, or cruel. I never thought it would be me. I never thought I would become the villain in my own love story. But I did, and I regret it every single day. It started small, the way sins often do. My husband, Ryan, and I have been married for 7 years. On the surface, we looked fine. Stable jobs, a little house we work hard for, dinners with friends, Sunday trips to the farmer's market. But behind closed doors, the spark had been fading. Not all at once, but like a slow leak you don't notice until the tire is flat. Ryan worked long hours. I did too. Our conversations became checklists, bills, groceries, deadlines. He was tired. I was tired. And somewhere between responsibility and routine, I started to feel invisible. That's when I met Adam. He was a coworker. He wasn't even my type, loud, charming, the kind of guy who loved being the center of attention. But he noticed me. He complimented my work. He asked about my day and seemed to actually listen. He laughed at my jokes, the ones Ryan used to laugh at years ago. I told myself it was harmless, just friendship. Just someone filling a void Ryan wasn't filling anymore. But deep down, I knew I was already walking toward the edge of a cliff. The first time it happened, I could barely breathe. It was after drinks with colleagues, after too much wine and too many glances that lingered too long. One kiss turned into a mistake that unraveled into something much bigger. I remember going home that night, crawling into bed beside Ryan, and feeling like my body didn't belong to me anymore. It didn't stop there. The affair went on for months. It was intoxicating and shameful all at once. Every time Adam touched me, part of me felt alive again, and another part of me died. I told myself lies, that Ryan wouldn't care, that it wasn't serious, that maybe I deserved to feel wanted again. But then came the guilt. Ryan would make me dinner after a long day, and I'd have to look at him across the table, pretending I was tired from work, when really I was exhausted from hiding. He'd ask me what was wrong, and I'd smile and say, nothing. He'd kiss me goodnight, and I'd close my eyes, wishing I could scrub my betrayal from my skin. The worst part wasn't even the cheating itself. It was the way it changed me. I started resenting Ryan for no reason, picking fights just to create distance, so I wouldn't feel the full weight of what I was doing. But Ryan never stopped loving me. He tried, God, he tried. And all I gave him was a wife who was already slipping away. It ended one afternoon when Adam said the words I wasn't prepared for. Leave him for me. That snapped me out of the fantasy. Leave Ryan? My husband who had stood by me through everything? My partner, my best friend? No, Adam was never really the answer. He was just a bandage over a wound I hadn't been brave enough to face. I ended it. Adam was angry, then cold, but I didn't care. I ran home to Ryan, desperate to feel like I still had a chance at redemption. Except the truth has a way of festering. Secrets don't stay buried forever. One night, Ryan looked at me and asked quietly, "Are you seeing someone else?" I froze. My silence was enough. I will never forget the look in his eyes. The moment love turned into devastation. He didn't scream, didn't throw anything. He just sat there, staring at me like he didn't know me anymore. And in that silence, I hated myself more than I ever thought possible. We're still together. Somehow, Ryan didn't leave me, though part of me wonders if it would have been easier for him if he had. We go to counseling now. We're trying. But I see it in his eyes every time I'm late from work, every time my phone buzzes. He wonders if it's happening again. I cheated. I can never take it back. And though I regret it with everything in me, regret doesn't erase what I did. Regret doesn't heal the scars I left on Ryan's heart. Regret doesn't give me back the woman I was before I betrayed him. All it does is remind me, every single day, that I destroyed something beautiful for a moment's worth of attention, and I'll carry that weight forever. The night Ryan asked me if I was seeing someone else, something inside me cracked. He had been quiet that evening, sitting across from me at the kitchen table while I absentmindedly stirred my pasta. The TV murmured in the background, but the room felt too heavy, too still. Then he set down his fork, looked at me with steady eyes, and said, "Are you seeing someone else?" My breath stopped. The clatter of the clock on the wall became unbearable. I wanted to say no. I wanted to lie, to protect him from the truth. But I'd already been lying for months, and I could see in his eyes he knew. So I just stared. My silence was my confession. Ryan pushed his plate away, untouched. He rubbed his face, his hands trembling. I tried to speak, but the words stuck in my throat. "How long?" he asked finally, his voice rough. I whispered, "A few months." He leaned back in his chair as if I had struck him. His jaw clenched, his shoulders tightened. He didn't shout, didn't curse. He just stared at me like I was a stranger. "You!" He broke off, then laughed bitterly. "You've been coming home, kissing me goodnight, sleeping beside me, and all this time," he shook his head, his voice cracking. "God, do you know what this does to me?" Tears filled my eyes. "Ryan, I'm sorry. I ended it. It didn't mean—" "Don't," he cut in sharply. "Don't you dare say it didn't mean anything. You risked everything for him. For what? Attention." I couldn't answer, because deep down, that's exactly what it was. That night, he didn't sleep beside me. He grabbed a pillow and blanket and went to the couch. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, listening to the muffled sounds of him crying when he thought I couldn't hear. That sound still haunts me more than anything. The next weeks were brutal. Ryan barely spoke to me. He moved around the house like a ghost. When he did speak, it was short, clipped. He'd ask, "Did you feed the dog?" or "Did you pay the electric bill?" But never "How are you?" or "I love you." I wanted to reach for him. I wanted to touch his hand, to tell him I would spend the rest of my life making it right. But every time I tried, he pulled away. One night, after 2 weeks of silence, I broke. "Please, Ryan," I whispered as he grabbed his jacket to head out. "Say something. Yell at me. Hate me. Anything. Just don't keep shutting me out." He stopped at the door, his back to me. "Do you know what it feels like," he said quietly, "to realize that the person you trusted most in this world was lying to you every day? That every smile, every kiss, every 'I love you' was tainted?" I felt my knees weaken. "I never stopped loving you," I said desperately. He turned, his face broken. "Then why wasn't I enough?" That was the question. The one I couldn't answer without tearing myself apart. It wasn't about Ryan not being enough. He was. He always had been. It was me. I was the problem. I had been so desperate to feel noticed, validated, adored, that I let someone else in instead of being brave enough to admit to my husband that I was lonely. I betrayed him because I was weak. And now, I was watching a man I loved drown in pain because of my selfishness. We started counseling a month later. Ryan didn't agree at first. He said he wasn't sure he even wanted to try. But eventually, he showed up with me at a therapist's office, sitting stiffly on the couch beside me, his arms crossed. The therapist asked me to speak first. "I cheated," I said plainly, my voice breaking. "I cheated, and I regret it more than anything I've ever done. And I know sorry is enough, but I'm saying it anyway. I'm sorry, Ryan." Ryan didn't look at me. His eyes were fixed on the floor. The therapist asked him, "What do you feel when you hear that?" He laughed harshly. "I feel like I'm living in someone else's marriage. I feel like everything I thought was real was a lie. And I don't know how I'm supposed to touch her again or believe her again or even look at her without picturing him." His words sliced through me, but they were true. Counseling didn't fix us overnight. It wasn't like the movies where one tearful confession brings a couple back together. It was grueling. Some days, Ryan wouldn't come home until midnight. Not because of work, but because he couldn't stand to be near me. Other days, he'd ask me questions I had to answer truthfully, even though the truth hurt him more. "Where did you meet him? Did you sleep with him in our bed? Did you tell him you loved him?" Every answer felt like reopening a wound. But slowly, painfully slowly, something began to shift. One night, after months of icy distance, I was in the kitchen cleaning up when Ryan came in and leaned against the counter. For the first time, he looked at me without hatred in his eyes. "I don't know if I'll ever forget," he said quietly, "but I want to try. I don't want this to be the end of us." I broke down, sobbing into his chest as he wrapped his arms around me for the first time since the affair. His embrace was hesitant, fragile, but it was there, and in that moment, I realized we still had a chance. We're still working on it. Trust doesn't grow back like weeds. It takes planting, watering, waiting. Some days we make progress. Some days we slip backward. But Ryan is still here. I'm still here. And maybe that's enough for now. I cheated, and I regret it. Not just because I hurt him, but because I almost lost the one person who has ever truly loved me. I live with the regret every day. But maybe, just maybe, regret could be the start of something better, if we're both willing to fight for it.